Good evening. Today is the 18th of October. I've not got an awful lot of light left, but I think it's time for yet another not particularly interesting, very vague, and probably quite boring vlog. So, a few weeks ago, I remember reading an article, this is from Sun Motors, about the cheapest cars to insure, according to GoCompare.com. It's not at all what you would expect. The top 10 cars aren't just things like Toyota Aigos and Citroen C1s. Oh, no, 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 no. They're a whole random variety of cars. Some you'd expect to be cheap and some which are unexpectedly cheap. When you get to number one, you will be absolutely amazed about this. So, we'll look at the list now and then we'll go for a little drive because I said where I need to be and we'll actually talk about this more. So, first one, and I assume they're using identical details about the person who wants the insurance on all of these. The top one is the Mazda MX-5, which costs £250 a year to insure, which is soft top. Soft tops used to be expensive to insure, didn't they? I mean, Mazda MX-5s, some of them very fast. Anyway, next one's a Peugeot 206. Now, a lot of these cars on this list are really, really old. The 206 was discontinued in this country in 2009. It came out in 1998. £255. Next, another PSA car, the Citroen Zara. Now, the Zara is even older. That came out in 1997 and was discontinued in 2004. £256. Now, one that I would expect, the Smart 42 for £260. They're tiny. There's nothing to a Smart 42 whatsoever. I don't know particularly why that is cheaper than some other cars. But yeah, I can understand the engines are tiny in those. Next for Toyota IQ, again, a really, really small car. I drove one of those in 2022. I keep getting people getting angry about mistakes I made in that video, but it's there. Yeah, they have a 1 litre 1.3 engine. I assume the cheap one to insure is a 1 litre. Which is a similar engine, I think, to the Igo in that, as far as I remember, or the Yaris. I can never remember which 1 litre it was in that. But yeah, anyway. Next is the Fiat Panda. Now, this is no surprise whatsoever. The old 1.1 versions of the Panda were particularly cheap, probably. So that's good. So the IQ, £265, Fiat £279. Then the Peugeot RCZ. Why the heck would a Peugeot RCZ be cheap to insure? The RCZR version makes over 250 horsepower. I drove one of those a while ago, although we can't talk about that because that's got a Prince engine in it. We don't talk about that. Next, the Vauxhall Aguila. Now, I can understand why this would be. The Aguila had, at least the latest two versions, there was normally a 1 litre 1.2 in the Aguilas from memory. Both engines out of the Corsa, GM Family Zero engines. And 1 litre is slow, 1.2 is probably better. I can understand they're quite small cars. If you're referring to either the one based on Suzuki Splash, which was the recent one, or the one before that based on Suzuki Wagon R, I understand that, and a very small car. 8 is very surprising. The Saab 9.3 was discontinued in 2012. Why would a Saab 9.3 be really cheap to insure? And then next, we've got, bizarrely, one of the cars that we own, a Volvo S40 at £290 a year. Let's go for a drive, viewers, and discuss this further, because this is absolutely bizarre. So, through the twilight streets of Somerset, why on earth is a Mazda MX-5 the cheapest car to insure? Why is a Volvo S40 so cheap to insure? Why? I think there's a couple of reasons, perhaps, and the Saab is exactly the same. Now, back in the day, and we're talking a long time ago, but both the 9.3 and the S40 were discontinued in 2012. They basically were rivals, essentially. And I've driven a 9.3 fairly recently. I came to a viewer down in Essex, and he had a 9.3 that I had a go in. And it was the aero version. It was fun. So that was good. My S40, yeah, I've got one of those myself. The S40 was made between 1996 and 2012. I presume they're talking about the second generation S40. This is one I have, which is 2006. I don't know why. It would be cheaper than like a Skoda Citigo or something, or a Kia Picanto, or a Hyundai i10. None of those are on the list, or a Volkswagen Up, or a Seat Me. You expect those things to be appearing on the list. And then one other car you think would be cheap is a Vauxhall Corsa. That's not on the list anywhere. Neither is a Ford Fiesta, nor a Ford Ka. Traditionally, cars that were bought by younger drivers are nowhere to be seen, and yet we've got old Saabs and a Mazda MX-5 and a Citroen Zara. The only thing I can think of with these is that an S40 or a Saab 9.3 or a Zara, they're not expensive cars. Not at all. Always the 206. The 206, there's lots of versions of little engines, like 1.1, 1.4. And also, they're not very expensive anymore. I mean, most people don't have the GTI 180 version or the Grand Tourisme that I drove recently from 1999. They don't have stuff like that. They have, little 1.1s and 1.4s. And 206s are not expensive cars. Citroen Zaras are not expensive car. They did come with a 1.4 as well. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just to do with value of the car. Otherwise, 40s aren't particularly expensive either. You can very easily pick one of those up for no budget reviews money. Certainly less than £500, you can pick one of those up for no problem at all. If you really want to buy a really bad one, wouldn't recommend it. But even the ones that are for sale at LSP car sales in Berkshire, where I sometimes film, they're not expensive either. Can you pick up an MX-5 for not much money? Probably, yeah. It'd be very rusty, but of course, maybe it's just because, I don't know, there's absolutely loads of them around. I don't have accidents. One factor why the Fiesta and the Corsa probably aren't in this list, you think about the number of people who buy a Fiesta or a Corsa. For years, Fiesta was the top-selling car in this country. The Corsa was a few years ago as well. It was a top-selling car in this country. And because they're so common, Corsas are more likely to get into accidents. It's just literally statistics, not that they're bad cars. It's just more people have, say, a Fiesta or a Corsa than most other cars. Maybe it's just that. I don't know, but it's nowhere to be see on the list. A little mini cars. Fiat 500 is not on there. Why is the Panda on there, not the Fiat 500? Are you more likely to get into an accident in a Fiat 500 with a Panda? Probably. Well, I don't know. It's very, very strange. I think the Fabia's on there and the Citigo's not. Why? Citigo's a much smaller car with small engines. I mean, Fabia, you can get with some really tiny as well. I drove a Mark II Fabia quite recently. It was a 1.2 Monte Carlo with a non-turbo engine. Now, it's quite possible that that's a very low insurance group car, because what you really want is one of the more powerful engines in a Monte Carlo, don't you? Rally-inspired special edition, but they brought out this 1.2 normally aspirated version, and perhaps that's just what it is. Like, kind of, it's there to lower your insurance premium. Clio passed, but Renault Clio, that's not on the list either, or Volkswagen Polo, that's not there. So all these ones you think are typical first cars are not there. Maybe if you are a younger driver and you want something that's a bit older and more interesting, buy yourself a Citroen Zara, buy an MX-5, buy a Saab 9.3 or a Volvo S40. All these cars are available for not much money, and all of them I've tested on the channel fairly recently. So that's my advice. Buy something that no one else really wants. That's quite interesting, and maybe that'll be the best for you. If you want to lower your insurance premium, forget what people say about, all these other things, which you know, you know, oh gosh, you know, Fiesta's far too expensive to insure. I know what I'll do. I'll buy myself a Volvo S40 T5. That'll save my insurance. Crazy stuff. Anyway, if I can get this car into reverse, there we go. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more surprisingly informative and maybe not so vague musing